Today we are going to take a look at the foundational concepts that explain how the human body moves during exercise. We'll explore the three anatomical planes of motion, review major movement patterns, and explain the main sources of resistance that influence training. Understanding these principles is essential for proper technique, program design, and preventing injuries as well. The body moves through three primary planes. The sagittal plane divides the body into left and right halves. Movements like walking, running, squatting, and bicep curls happen in this plane. The frontal plane divides the body into front and back. Movements include side lunges, lateral raises, and jumping jacks. Basically, anything moving side to side. Then we have the transverse plane, that divides the body into top and bottom halves. Rotational movements such as Russian twist or Trump twist, swinging a bat, pivoting in sports occur in this plane. These planes help us categorize movement and identify whether something is moving efficiently or compensating. Here is the diagram of some of the anatomical planes, as long as some extra that we didn't go over. So if you look closely here, we have the frontal plane, which, like we said, goes front to back. We have the sagittal plane that splits it from left to right, and the transverse plane, which goes top to bottom. So now we take a look at some of the major movement types. We have flexion, which decreases the angle between two body parts. For example, bending your elbow during a curl. Then we move on to extension, which increases that angle, like straightening the knee during a leg extension. We have abduction, which moves your limb away from the midline of your body. And we have adduction, pulls it back toward the midline. These are common in shoulder and hip exercises. Rotation refers to the movement around an axis, such as turning your head or rotating your torso with a medicine ball. Again, that goes back to Russian twist, or holding a weight or medicine ball or a kettlebell and rotating your torso. Understanding that these types of movements help us teach proper movement patterns and correct form effectively. Here is a diagram of some of the movements. We have flexion with the leg and the arm, extension also with the leg and the arm, and also the head, extension and flexion. Then below, we see that there is some more flexion and extension. We have some abduction and adduction, and also some rotations in this diagram. Sources of resistance in training. So we have exercise, which is defined by the forces we work against. The main source of resistance that we work against is gravity, which influences vertical movements like lifting a weight upward against its pull. In that, we have to take in account inertia, the resistance to change in motion. These all matter in explosive lifts, or like when we're trying to start something or stop something quickly. Friction shows up in activities such as sled pushes or dragging anything across the floor, which we have to also take into account when we're talking about resistance, um, elasticity, uh, which is common in resistance bands, um, or the stretching and shortening cycles in muscles. This creates variable resistance depending on length and tension that we stay under. Understanding that these different forces or different resistance helps us choose the right training tools and progress excessive exercises safely. Also, understanding that we can control some resistance depending on what equipment we are using helps as well. So, for summary, understanding that every exercise is just a movement with resistance added. Uh, for example, some of those could be like bending your arm is a flexion resistance. Bending your arm while holding a weight equals a bicep curl, right? So we have resistance there. Standing up from a chair is extension, which is just a regular everyday thing. And standing up holding a barbell turns into a squat. We deal with and work against resistance all day, every day, in everyday lives and everything we do. Um, it just, once you start to pinpoint those things in the terms of exercise, those movements are a little different. So, of course, like I said, like we've gone over, being able to understand that our movements and the way we get stronger and build resistance or build strength against resistance happens in different planes. We have forward and backwards, like walking or squats, side to side, such as jumping jacks, twisting and rotating, like Russian twist, or they call them torso twist as well. And these things are designed around everyday use of our body. We also understand that resistance helps build strength during these movements. Resistance comes from many different places, such as gravity. We can add elastic bands, machines, and things of that nature, or even body weight, right? And we get this understanding from just simply grasping the knowledge of gravity in and of itself is resistance. Understanding that these movements that we do every day and that we add resistance to during workouts helps build our strength in our body. And if we're doing these right and understanding that how our bodies are supposed to move in each plane or in each way, such as flexion, extension, in the sagittal or frontal plane and things like that, we are able to avoid injuries as well as produce a greater force by doing it correctly. And as I close, we understand that together, resistance and exercise or the anatomical movements help us better in life overall, not just sports or training. But if we can make sure that we are, one, moving in the right planes or using our full anatomical movement knowledge, we understand that our daily life overall gets better. So when we're standing up, we know we don't need to be getting out of that plane just to be straight up and down. When we're rotating, we know that we don't need to over rotate, or we need to rotate our leg as well as our torsos at the same time in order to avoid injuries and things of that nature. Once we get that and understand all of that, this knowledge that we have can be put to better and greater use for everyday life. Thank you.